The glass doors of Premier Elite Motors opened, and Tallulah Riley Musk, Elon Musk's wife, stepped inside. The luxury dealership gleamed under LED lights, its floor lined with Bentleys, Ferraris, and Porsches. She had come for one car, the Paragon V12, an obsidian black sedan worth $275,000. It wasn't vanity, it was for her foundation work with women in STEM. A young salesman greeted her nervously, but before he could continue, the manager, Michael Carter, appeared. Tall, confident, and arrogant, he eyed her pendant, then smirked. "Wait, you're Tallulah Musk, Elon's wife? The one who stands by him while he spouts nonsense on TV?" he said loudly, drawing attention. Tallulah kept her composure. "I'm here to buy the Paragon V12. My husband's politics don't matter." Michael chuckled. "This dealership caters to progressive clients. You don't belong here. Why don't you try Tesla? That's your husband's little empire, isn't it?" Laughter rippled through the showroom. Ethan, the young salesman, looked down in shame. Tallulah's eyes hardened. "So you're refusing to sell because of who I'm married to? That's discrimination." Michael stepped closer. "My showroom, my rules. Leave now or I'll call security." The room went silent. With a steady voice, Tallulah replied, "Fine, but this isn't over." She walked out, heels clicking against the marble. Outside, sliding into her old sedan, she dialed Elon. "Elon, I was kicked out. He mocked us in front of everyone." There was a pause, then his voice, calm but cold. "He did what?" "Don't worry, Tallulah. Tomorrow, I'll handle this." The next morning, the streets outside Premier Elite Motors stirred with their usual rhythm until a low, commanding rumble silenced the block. A silver Rolls-Royce Phantom, worth over $1 million, glided to a stop in front of the dealership. Its chrome details gleamed like armor, drawing stares and phones from passers-by. From the car stepped Elon Musk, dressed in a tailored dark suit, his expression calm but unyielding. He carried the presence of a man who'd faced world leaders and boardrooms, yet now walked into a car dealership with the same gravity. Inside, Michael Carter was mid-conversation with a client near a crimson Ferrari when the chime of the glass doors rang. Heads turned. The showroom hushed as Elon entered, his polished shoes echoing on the marble floor. Michael's smug grin faltered, though he quickly recovered. "Good morning, sir." "Michael Carter, sales manager? How can I help you?" His eyes darted nervously toward the Rolls-Royce outside. Elon stopped just a few feet away, his voice low but cutting through the silence. "I'm Elon Musk. Yesterday you humiliated my wife, Tallulah. You refused to sell her the Paragon V12. Because of me, because of our name. You mocked her in front of everyone." Gasps rippled through the room. A woman whispered, "That's Musk himself." Another man muttered, "This is about his wife." Michael adjusted his tie, his voice less steady now. "Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Elon raised a hand, silencing him. "Don't play games. She came here as a customer, and you treated her like an enemy. That ends today." The entire showroom seemed to lean in. Salespeople froze, clients stared, and Michael's confidence drained. He swallowed hard as Elon's eyes locked on him, sharp and unwavering. "I'm here to buy the Paragon V12, Elon said firmly, "and we're going to have a very different kind of conversation." The atmosphere crackled. Everyone knew the showdown had only just begun. The tension inside Premier Elite Motors was thick, the silence broken only by the soft hum of overhead lights. Every eye was locked on Elon Musk, who now stood face to face with Michael Carter. Michael tried to steady his breath, forcing a smile. "Mr. Musk, please, let's not blow this out of proportion. We didn't refuse your wife, we just—" Elon's voice cut clean across him, calm, precise, dangerous. "You told her she didn't belong here. You mocked her for standing by me. You turned a business transaction into a public humiliation. Don't dress that up as a misunderstanding." Whispers rippled through the crowd. A woman near the Bentley gasped softly, clutching her husband's arm. Ethan, the young salesman, stood frozen by the reception desk, his wide eyes flicking nervously between Elon and his boss. Michael shifted uncomfortably, tugging at his cufflinks. "Mr. Musk, this dealership has a brand to protect. We serve clients who share a certain outlook, progressive, forward-thinking. Your wife's presence—" Elon took one slow step forward, his height and quiet intensity dwarfing Michael's polished confidence. "My wife runs charities. She works with women breaking into engineering and veterans rebuilding their lives. She's more forward-thinking than you'll ever be. And you—" he pointed sharply. Thought she wasn't worthy of a car? A car? The words landed like thunder. Customers exchanged uneasy looks, their whispers rising. He's right, an older man muttered. That manager went too far. Just then, a door at the back of the showroom opened. The dealership owner, Elizabeth Harper, entered, elegant in a navy dress, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun. Her heels clicked briskly as she approached, sensing the storm brewing. "Mr. Musk," she said quickly, her voice calm but tinged with nerves. "I'm Elizabeth Harper, owner of Premier Elite. Is there a problem?" Elon turned to her, his expression steady. "The problem is simple. Yesterday your manager mocked and dismissed my wife for who she is, for who I am. She came here ready to buy the Paragon V12, and he treated her like trash. I'm here to correct that, and to make sure it never happens again." The crowd stirred, waiting for Michael's response. His face had gone pale, beads of sweat forming along his hairline. "Sir, Elon leaned closer, his voice dropping to a low, deliberate growl. "You wanted to make a point yesterday. You wanted to humiliate her because you thought power was on your side. But you forgot something, Mr. Carter. Respect isn't optional. Not in business. Not in life." Elizabeth's jaw tightened as she glanced at her manager, clearly furious. "Mr. Musk," she said firmly, "I assure you this will be handled. We'll personally see that you get the Paragon V12 delivered exactly as your wife wanted." Elon didn't take his eyes off Michael. "Good, because I could buy this entire dealership before lunch. But that would be too easy." His voice sharpened. "Instead, you're going to do something harder. You're going to volunteer personally at my wife's next charity event. You'll look veterans in the eye. You'll hear their stories, and you'll understand the people you mocked." Gasps broke out in the showroom. Michael's mouth fell open, his pride collapsing in front of the audience. He stammered, I don't—" Elizabeth stepped in swiftly, her tone leaving no room for argument. "You'll do it, Michael. Consider it. Non-negotiable." The crowd, silent a moment before, now hummed with approval. A man near the Porsche nodded firmly, whispering, "That's justice." Elon finally pulled back, his eyes still locked on Michael. "Now," he said, his voice steady, "bring me the papers. I'm buying the car my wife deserved yesterday." The air was electric. Michael, shaken and humiliated, turned stiffly toward Ethan, who scrambled to grab the paperwork. The balance of power in the showroom had shifted completely. Elon Musk didn't just come to buy a car, he came to teach a lesson. No one in that dealership would ever forget. The paperwork was signed quickly. Elon's signature swept across the digital tablet with swift precision, and within minutes the Paragon V12 was his. But it wasn't the car that had everyone whispering. It was the spectacle of watching the world's most famous innovator dismantle arrogance with calm authority. As the crowd dispersed, Elizabeth Harper personally shook Elon's hand, her voice steady but apologetic. "Mr. Musk, the car will be delivered to your residence by tomorrow, in pristine condition. You have my word." Elon nodded, but his gaze shifted back to Michael Carter, who stood rigid by the Bentley, his confidence now stripped bare. His voice dropped low, almost conversational, yet every word carried weight. "You thought you could measure worth by politics or image. You forgot that worth is measured by integrity. When you face those veterans at Tallulah's charity gala, maybe you'll start to understand." Michael swallowed hard, nodding stiffly, his jaw tight. He knew there was no escaping it, not with Elizabeth glaring at him, not with every staff member silently judging his collapse. The following evening, the Paragon V12 arrived at the Musk residence in Georgetown. It gleamed under the driveway lights, obsidian black, polished to perfection. When Tallulah stepped outside to see it, a smile tugged at her lips. She ran her fingers lightly along its surface before looking at Elon. "You didn't have to do this in person." "Oh," she said softly. "I did," Elon replied, his tone steady. "Not for the car, for respect. No one gets to humiliate you, not because of me, not because of anything." Tallulah's eyes softened. She reached for his hand. "You always fight battles bigger than yourself. But this time, you fought for me." Elon gave a faint smile. "You're worth more than any car, Tallulah." This was never about luxury. It was about dignity. And next month, when that manager is forced to stand in front of veterans, he'll know what real worth looks like. Tallulah leaned against him, her eyes on the Paragon V12. For her, it wasn't just a vehicle, it was a symbol, a reminder that standing firm against arrogance, even in a showroom, mattered. Meanwhile, across town, Michael Carter sat at his desk long after closing hours. The dealership was silent, the lights dim. He stared at the volunteer badge Elizabeth had tossed on his desk that afternoon, the one he'd be required to wear at the gala. He replayed the moment over and over, the icy calm in Elon's voice, the quiet fire in Tallulah's eyes. For the first time in years, Michael felt something unusual. Doubt. Doubt in the arrogance that had fueled his pride. He sighed heavily, running a hand through his hair. "What have I done?" he muttered to himself. The lesson had begun, and though he didn't admit it yet, Michael Carter knew the gala might change him in ways he hadn't expected. The grand ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton in Washington, D.C. shimmered beneath golden chandeliers. American flags and banners celebrating veterans lined the walls. Long tables overflowed with Southern-inspired dishes, and a live band played soft rock classics that stirred nostalgia among the crowd. At the podium stood Elon Musk, radiant in a navy gown, her emerald falcon pendant catching the light. Her voice carried across the hall as she spoke about sacrifice, resilience, and the mission to support veterans rebuilding their lives. The audience erupted in applause, many rising to their feet in respect. Near the entrance, however, one man stood awkwardly in a plain volunteer's polo shirt, Michael Carter. The once arrogant sales manager now pushed the wheelchair of Sarah, a young veteran who had lost her arm in Afghanistan. Her bright spirit and easy laughter filled the space, drawing Michael out of his stiffness. "Get me a slice of pecan pie, Carter," Sarah teased, grinning. "And don't be stingy with the whipped cream." For the first time in weeks, Michael laughed, genuinely. "Yes, ma'am," he replied, wheeling her toward the dessert table. Rebecca Musk stepped down from the stage, weaving through the crowd until her eyes found Michael. She stopped in front of him, her expression calm but edged with memory. "I didn't think you'd show up," she said. Michael shifted uneasily. "Your husband didn't leave me much choice," he admitted, his voice quieter than ever. He glanced at Sarah, then back at Tallulah. "But I was wrong about you, about all of this. Meeting people like her," he gestured to Sarah, "it changes things. I shouldn't have treated you the way I did. I'm sorry." Tallulah studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled faintly. "Respect begins with humility. Mr. Carter, maybe you've just taken your first step." At that moment, Elon Musk appeared beside his wife, his presence commanding yet softened by the warmth in his eyes. He extended a hand toward Michael. "You showed up," Elon said. "That counts for something. But the real change, that's on you." Michael hesitated, then shook Elon's hand firmly. "I'll earn it," he said simply. Sarah chuckled from her wheelchair. "Better keep your word, Carter. If not, I'll hunt you down myself." The crowd nearby laughed, the tension broken. As the evening went on, Michael blended into the background, serving plates, fetching drinks, and listening to veterans tell their stories. Gone was the smug arrogance. In its place, a man learning humility one step at a time. From across the ballroom, Elon and Tallulah watched him. Tallulah leaned closer, her voice low. "Do you think he'll really change?" Elon slipped an arm around her shoulders, his gaze steady. "Maybe, but whether he does or not, tonight proved something bigger. Respect, dignity, and compassion still matter. And as long as we stand for that, no one can take it from us." The band swelled with music. Veterans raised their glasses, and the gala shimmered with hope. For Tallulah and Elon, the Paragon V12 in their driveway was more than just a car. It was a symbol of standing tall against arrogance and a reminder that even the most unlikely hearts could be reshaped when faced with truth.